Hi Taurus, welcome to your first half of February 2017 general tarot reading. It's Raina here, and I'm just shuffling these cards and wanting to tell you about what is happening in the first half of the month. I'm not going to go into a lot of astrological transits except to say there's an eclipse, a lunar eclipse of powerful full moon in the sign of Leo. Now, for you, Leo is your fourth house of home and family. And so something ending, this could be like somebody who's lived in a house for 30 years, 40 years, and the house just gets sold. And it could be your family of origin's house. It's kind of interesting, to tell you the truth, because I have Taurus rising, and that actually did happen to me, and that was after, gosh, how many years of that family house. But it happened, the eclipse is happening on February 10th. But I've heard that sometimes the eclipse energy can precede the actual date. So, I don't know how far in advance, but, I just thought of that. That could be something that I also experienced. But yeah, so you might note that there's some kind of a thing, and it's very transformative, especially if you have a planet in the fourth house. It's very transformative, dealing with possibly the past, possibly your parents, the family of origin, your hometown, things that link you to, days gone by. And of course, that can also transform you right now, because you're thinking about, you're kind of reinventing yourself maybe, and letting go of some of those things that have maybe stayed with you for a long time, that you thought defined you, and they don't anymore, and that can be good. For some people that base their identity on, their story, that can be kind of threatening, and you have to be able to realize the benefit of this, to really take advantage of it, or to appreciate it, I guess. So, okay, here we go. And I just picked that card for another sign, and I was shuffling as I was talking to you, so it's very interesting. See, the first two cards I picked were mother and father energies. We're talking about family of origin. Another mother energy. Picking some of the same cards. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to pick another card, because this particular card isn't really an outcome that... Okay, here's a card. Okay. There are certain cards in the tarot that I don't feel give good guidance about future trends, because they, may be a state of mind, especially if it's one that is, you could say, is on the negative. You don't want that to be kind of a thing, oh, well, you're going to feel this way, dissatisfaction. Because I don't believe that these cards tell us what is going to happen. I think they paint a picture of what may be happening right now, and we always have a power to alter things. Some things may be fated, but even our reactions to those things can differ depending on how much we're willing to work on ourselves. Okay, so the overall theme is the Queen of Swords. So what we're dealing with here is this energy of being very sure of yourself in the decisions that you make. And I'm saying this slowly because I'm thinking about Taurus and whether Taurus has any indecision. Taurus is not a sign that tends to be very flexible in thought in general because of being a fixed nature. So for you, Taurus, sometimes decisions can be difficult, not because you're just like twisting in the wind, but because you have such deeply set opinions that can be very rigid. And so when you have to make a decision about like choosing between two things, if you have a very strong feeling about something and yet there are negatives attached to it, it can be very hard to sway you from that. And this is one of the, in personal relationships especially, this can be problematic because you can end up staying with somebody who is seriously flawed. And, you know, people around you may know that this person isn't a good influence on you, but you're very stubborn in what you see and what you refuse to see. And so making a decision about leaving can be very difficult. I think that for some of you, there may be a job that is of the mental variety. So that would be teaching or, you know, anything along those lines, like legal things, either being a lawyer or being a paralegal. You may be even like, this could even be like training that you want to get, but something that where you're kind of like going back and forth between business, maybe even owning, maybe you did own a business, or you worked for someone who owned a business, and now you're thinking of doing something on your own, and it's a mental thing, but it may be working for somebody else. The Queen of Swords can be something along the lines of anything where you're using your mind. So it can be just about anything. And it actually could even be in the communications field. It could be something as simple as being a customer service agent, actually. Because you're still going to be answering phones, or a receptionist or something like that. However, you may in the past have worked for somebody else who had their own business, or been a business owner, and something happened that you had to close, or things like that. Or, you know, another thing that the King of Pentacles can represent is a financial institution. So like banking, the stock market, and things along those lines. And for whatever reason, maybe that, maybe the position that you had was eliminated, or, it's just not the same, accounting. I know I was talking to somebody who used to be an accountant. As a matter of fact, yeah, it's kind of like that. She ended up going into business for herself. Somebody that I met when I was out and about, and she used to be an accountant. And, some of these jobs are very well paying. I can't remember why she didn't do it anymore. I think she just wasn't feeling it. I don't think it was because she lost the opportunity. I don't know. Maybe she did. And she said something along those lines of like, yeah, I tried to do what would be the most practical thing. And this is like someone who is interested in stimulating their mind, quite frankly. So this is more along the lines of, and I do see a lot of people being teachers. But here's the thing. You may get a job. I'm sorry, you may have something that comes along that's related to business, because anytime you see wands in a reading, it could be entrepreneurial stuff. The King of Pentacles could be somebody who's working for other people, or has like a really big, very successful business of their own. But this has more of a creative element with the wands. And there's also enthusiasm, and you see she's holding a sunflower. So that is the sun, this could be specifically Leo energy, but because Leo is ruled by the sun, but any fire sign energy, and it's cheerful. That's what the sun also represents when we say sunny disposition. These two queens are different. The Queen of Swords is very cool and calculating and analytical. I probably didn't mention that word. And the Queen of Wands is like very positive, enthusiastic. Really, if this is a boss, it's somebody who is very pro their employees. They're not, the Queen of Swords is probably more problematic. And this could be somebody that you are thinking of working for, you might work for. We also get Leo for this card, for what's coming in. So that could be connected to that person. Leo is a natural business leader, or leader in general in business, but, or anything. But the two queens, the Queen of Swords might be more critical of their employees. And this Queen of Wands is much more looking at what their strengths are. In your personal life, if there are people involved, you may be involved with somebody in the past who was an earth sign like you. So this could be a fellow Taurus, this could be a Virgo or a Capricorn, and this person may have even been the father of your child, since it's a king. This person would be very stable. But depending on the individual Taurus person, you may gravitate towards people who are very exciting and not necessarily as dry or as, workaholic as the King of Pentacles might be. And there may be also a person, like, I'm thinking of a situation where you have this person, maybe he, I hate to say this because I don't like to act like this is really, behavior that should be treated as just fine and dandy, but I don't want to be judgmental, and I also don't want to eliminate it. It could be that this person has, has another child with somebody else, and that that person is featured. Maybe they went back to that person. Maybe you don't even have a child with him. Maybe he has it with somebody else. And maybe it's not that he's having children all over the place. Maybe that was his past relationship, and there was a conflict. Because now I will say that I do believe that with some of you that this is a personal relationship. You both may have children with him, because you have two queens side by side. So it's like the battling mothers, baby mamas, the battle of the baby mamas. And, it could be one of those things. But it could be, if you don't have children with this person, but he has it with somebody else, you may feel like you're holding back. Maybe you really get along with this person, but you're afraid that he's not going to be there for your child the way he is for his other child, because that came first. It could be something where you're not sure of what he's going to do when, the time comes, and so you have kind of like resisted really going to that level of commitment because you're still trying to figure things out. And you may kind of like feel like that person is always hanging around, but that person is going to be around. That person is somebody that he made a child with, so that has to be taken into account. And the child or children can never be the ones who suffer, because the adults have ego problems related to who's the one getting the most attention and things like that. It should never degenerate into something like that. If you are kind of thinking, I don't know if I want to do it, then by all means, don't. If you have like doubts, there might be something that might be a good reason why you should have doubts. Don't just kind of ignore your voice, your inner voice that might be telling you this isn't a good idea. Because if you've seen behavior that suggests that it's not, that he's not going to be there for you, then definitely listen to that. The higher message is the Chariot card, and I did get this also for another sign, and this is about not letting opposing forces knock you off your goal. And there may be things going on around you that feel a little bit out of control, or you don't know what, maybe you feel a little bit, I don't know, confused about which direction to go in. By the way, I was thinking of those eclipses in February, because that can lead to that kind of like chaotic energy too, because there's a sense of transition and, things going away, things coming in, and it's very like, kind of like energizing, but by the same time a little bit hectic. And, when the smoke clears, you get to see what's, going to stay in your life and what's leaving. But for the time being, that could be very, tenuous. And what can be happening is that with the fourth house activated during this lunar eclipse, this could be a time when the issue of motherhood, for those of you women out there, is coming to the fore. Actually, I said that this card, the Chariot, connects with the sign Cancer. Well, Cancer is the ruler of the universal fourth house of home and family. So even though your fourth house is actually Leo, in the universal chart, it is Cancer who rules that house. And so all of the qualities of Cancer are what is that fourth house, and home and family are the biggies. And so that may be saying, as a higher message, that Chariot card, that you are going to experience immense transformation due to this house. And full moons can be very potent times for conception. So who knows, some of you may have that kind of thing where you find out, the fifth house is recreational sex too, and also conception, is actually conception. But I think the fourth house, just because it's connected to mother and home, could also, having a lunar eclipse there might have some connection to pregnancy. And so just be aware of that and how that may play out. Maybe you're thinking, maybe that is what you've been thinking about, if you're going to have children, and even the house itself, like, where are we going to live? This could be you selling a house, and maybe it's like it's been on the market for 6 months, and then all of a sudden it sells in one day, and you're like, you didn't even really plan where you're going to live or something like that. So there's like up in the air kind of stuff. What crosses you is the Page of Cups. This could be you being too naive, too gullible about a situation and believing what you want to believe. Or this could be about a Pisces individual. I'm saying that specifically. Could be a Cancer, because it's a Cups, or a Scorpio, but because of the nature of the card, I don't see Cancers as gullible as Pisces. So this person may be somebody from the past, and we do have a Pisces solar eclipse at the end of the month, but that person may be causing you headaches, or you're thinking about, if that person tries to come back, you're like, thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do here? In terms of anything business oriented. Be careful about get rich quick schemes. You may have people throwing things at you and offers and things like that. And you may feel like you really don't know what to do. Like, should I do this? Should I do that? I was kind of like, when I was saying that, I was thinking about your 5th house, which is Virgo. No, Virgo is your 5th house. And that, we had a solar eclipse there in September. So now we're 4 months later. And so you had this new beginning, a very powerful new beginning, in your 5th house of romance, children, all those things, home businesses. And this could be like, if you started it then, if something began then, things may be getting more heated up. Maybe you did get pregnant. Maybe you did, now you're pregnant and you're wondering, what am I going to do? Don't put on rose-colored glasses. See things as they are. I just said this to another sign. Allow yourself to accept whatever it is that's happening. This is about maintaining your one-pointedness. And actually, Taurus is very good at that. Because you are a fixed sign, you're like an endurer. You're like somebody who's very consistent. And you have the capacity to really tune out those things that are acting as distractions when you want to. But there may be an area of vulnerability where it catches you emotionally, and then you just like, it's hard for you to deal with the emotional fallout of that. And so, but it could be that this is another person, and this person would be very artistic, but they may be kind of screwed up. And, they may have some wonderful qualities. They may be very kind-hearted. They may be very, sensitive, but they could be their own worst enemy. They could be childish in terms of their gullibility, and they don't really, it's almost like a very dependent personality, and you are trying to do things here. And this person might actually drag you down if you don't watch out. The advice is the Strength card, or what's coming in as a Strength card. So this could be Leo energy, but this is also about you. I think that if there is somebody from your past who, you're tempted to go back to, because emotionally you really miss there's something about them that was very healing, but overall it was way too, the word that I was going to say was murky. And then I looked back up at that Queen of Swords card, and it's about the clarity and gaining mastery over your emotions and having that clear mind. I think that this person may even have addiction. This person may have alcoholism, cups, drinking problems, or it could be heroin. It could be anything that's a depressant, pills, oxy, or, I don't want to just limit it to that, because I'm just saying that people like that tend to gravitate towards depressants, downers, but it could be even something like pot, which alters their mind and makes them feel like they're very creative, but they have a kind of a hazy mindset. They're very dependent, and they may be even like kind of lethargic because they're in a fog, and so you don't want this. And I think that you're going to see that, and you're not going to allow that person to worm their way in, because they can be very charming. In business situations, I think you are going to see what is the opportunity that is valuable, and not allow anybody to kind of, give you a song and dance and tell you that something is so great when it's not. If there is some issue with a past, because that King of Pentacles, I don't think that's the same person as the Page of Cups, just because it's totally different. That person is very financially independent and, maybe very well off. The Page of Cups could be like a starving artist. But that person, that King of Pentacles, even though that's in the past position, that person could be the person that you have begun a relationship with, and maybe it's a relationship that's not that old, and there may be something about that person that rubs you the wrong way, even though they're very successful financially. They may not be there enough for you, and you're missing that connection. And that's the one thing that this Page of Cups offers, is that they may not have a lot of money, but they have all the time in the world, or they have a lot of compassion. And so you might wish that you could, clone these two people into one person, but you can't. So you may end up with neither one, because you decide that you don't want that kind of thing. Well, the Queen of Swords, it would be easier for, you may have that clarity, that moment of clarity, as they call it, where you see everything as it is, and it's a very easy decision. You don't even have to agonize over it. Or you may still continue to, I have a feeling some of you are going to still be, weighing your options because of the nature of the outcome cards. But one of them, the outcomes, was the Four of Cups, as I said. And so if it's with, it's interesting. I just thought of this. So if there is a water sign and an earth sign, just like I said, this is the earth sign, this is the water sign in your life, the water sign person is, you're it's like meh, it's just like whatever. You're not really interested in that person. And yet that person may be into you, or at least pretending that they are. And so that's where the hook is. So that's saying that you probably are going to not end up with that person. And this person, the jury is still out. The two indicates there may be still conflict within yourself about whether or not to make that choice. With your own professional life, you may be pondering whether or not to go overseas. You may, over a body of water, to either seek out new opportunities, or if you have a job offer already that you can choose from, you may think, oh, I think I'm going to do that. It could also point to you having two jobs at the same time, possibly so that you can ease into the new situation more readily. And right now you feel like you can't live off of one salary, and maybe you're starting your own business, and that's reflected by the Queen of Wands, but maybe you're still working in another capacity in the meantime. So anyway, Taurus, I hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great first half of February. Bye.